Hi.
Hello, I'm Tyler.
Hey.
Hey, Dr. Briskin.
Hi, Suze.
Hey, Sarah, how are you? I'm in motion, moving between places.
Sounds
These guys got a little intro from Dan, our former fellow, did at least like a tip sheet on like how to run a training room a little bit.
Okay.
And like they got handed a sheet on writing notes for patients they see in training rooms, so they have some sort of way of tracking them.
Good.
And then this morning Flannery did a really nice grand rounds on like sideline preparedness and like, you know, a little like EAP and what it entails, but really
Great.
anything you touch base on and more kind of Q&A stuff I think will be good. I just texted all the fellows to remind them.
Okay. Perfect.
So it looks like Austin's dialing in. Tyler, you actually came up as Justin on here, I think. You guys logged in together? Or is Justin on? You're muted. Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
Tag
we're hanging
team.
together.
Okay. All right, so we're just missing Rohan. I don't know where he's at today. Can't keep everybody straight. So maybe give Rohan a minute to hop on.
Okay. I was going to ask you, what schools
Sound
is
good?
everyone at?
Oh, you're gonna really make me work right now. Maybe they should tell you where they're at.
We can do that.
Tyler's gonna be at Orange. Justin, you're going, hold on. Austin's going to US, right? Rohan, who's not on, is Justin's with you.
Yep.
And Rohan's going to Euclid.
Okay.
So that's for high school. And then all four of them share Kent. And then for college, Justin's doing Lake Erie, Tyler's doing Case. Austin is going to be at BW, but that's not public knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rohan is, what am I missing? Oberlin, right?
Okay.
I think that's it. Cool.
Okay.
All right. And it looks like Rohan's connecting. So I'm going to hop off so you don't have to watch me drive and I'll just listen.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Hi, everyone. I'm
Rohan,
Sarah.
when you're on, I was just going to tell Rohan when he's on, pop his camera on, or at least pop your volume on so we know you're there and listening. There he is. Yay. All right. I'll mute.
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. I'm the athletic trainer at Hawkins School. I just had a baby in the spring and she's here with me. So if you hear little baby noises in the background or crying, it's just her. Suze told me what schools you guys are at, just to help give me a background so I know who you guys are working with. Do you guys we'll start out with, do you guys have specific questions or things you want me to talk about from what you've heard, or I can just start talking?
I don't think we have any specific questions.
Yeah.
Just wanna give tips and tricks kind of thing.
General overview and with the training room and everything too, I think.
Yep. If you do come up with questions, don't hesitate to just stop me. So I've been practicing as an athletic trainer for something like 17 years, 16, 17 years. This is my 10th year at Hawkins. So I really like it here. I went to Laurel, so it's very similar background, academics. One thing I really like about Hawkins is that I'm also involved on the academic side a little bit, especially with managing concussions. It is totally up to whatever I say and my fellow and what we feel is right for the kid, and the school follows it, which is great. Sometimes almost too much, to the point where they're like, you said they can't take a test, so we're not letting them take a test even though they want to take it. Let the kid take a test, like, so, but that's a few of the reasons why I like Hawkins, but there's definitely good points and bad points to every school. So Working with athletic trainers and doing training room, I would make sure you touch base with your athletic trainer and how they are wanting things run. I typically try to come up with a list, and I try to keep it so that you're not there all night either. But I do want to get stuff for you guys to see and to learn. So if there's something maybe you heard about in grand rounds, or there's you're not good with your shoulder evals and you're like, I want to see a shoulder so I can work on that, let your athletic trainer know so they can get you a shoulder injury. Just because you're seeing them might not mean that like something bad is going on. It might just be that something for you to work on. Also, when you're seeing the high school kids, communication with parents is essential. Either you or the athletic trainer should be calling the parents after every visit, just to touch base with them, let the parents know what's going on. Also, the athletic trainer should get permission from the parents for you to see them. So it doesn't have to be written permission. I just like the parents to know that, hey, Joe Smith is going to see Justin today for this. This is what's going on. This is what I'm concerned about. Make sure it's okay with the parents. Most parents are okay with it, but every once in a while you get the ones that are like, oh no, I don't want that. So communication's big, and then just making sure the parents are aware of everything. Your athletic trainer will also work with you on who to refer to. I do send a lot of my stuff to Susan Mandy, but sometimes I'm like, we should send it to this person, or this family normally sees the clinic and we're not going to get them to change. Like, I already know that, we're not going to try. So your athletic trainer knows the kids and knows the families, at least most of them. So kind of rely on them for that too. Typically with like concussions and impact stuff, when we have an impact that we need cleared, it's typically a time sensitive thing. Like the kid took it and we're hoping to get them out to practice today, because if they don't practice today, then they can't play. So do kind of be sensitive to that. We all know that you guys have clinical stuff and that comes first. But if you see many text messages, emails, missed calls from us, we're probably trying to get you to look at something kind of quick. I like to communicate that ahead of time too. Like, hey, I am expecting this kid to take their impact today at 4 o'clock. I'll send it to you, watch for it. So, but that is important, because if they don't get those days, then as you know, they can't play. Any questions on any of that stuff? With your schools, make sure you go through your emergency action plan with your EMS and your athletic trainer. I know that Flannery probably talked to you a ton about that today. And he probably talked to you about did he mention what we're rolling out with the CVC this year?
The video of the like carrying the AED from the farthest point, like that part?
No, so there's another part we're doing, and this is only CVC schools, so it will be Hawken and Orange. We're doing a medical timeout before every game. And so
yeah, he did mention that too.
Okay. And we've been working on that since last like January. So we're excited to do that. But definitely make sure you guys go over your EAPs, practice. Have any of you guys actually had to spine board someone?
Not for real.
No,
Okay.
just practice.
Okay. So yeah, when the EMS comes out, make sure you practice it. I know, so typically what I do is I'll go through everything first, and then I'll let the fellow jump in and try it too, because I have had situations where the fellow is at the head. And so they need to be just as familiar with that. or maybe you're covering it for some reason, the athletic trainer's not there. I mean, there's many reasons and scenarios how you could be the one at the head and need to know what's going on and what to do. Also, when you're with EMS, make sure you talk through different scenarios and situations, like what to do. What is their policy on a heat illness? Some EMS will say, no, we want to take them and go. We all know that that's not how it should be. So that should be a discussion to be had now and not over a kid in a tub and you're arguing about it. Have the argument now. And if you need help with that argument, I would loop Flannery in. He can definitely help you reach out to those EMS and say, hey, that's not how it should be done. I had that happen a few years ago, and the fire chief actually called me and he's like, what happened at this meeting? I'm like, your guy was wrong. I didn't say it like that, but I guess they got a stern talking to. So other things to find out is what EMS has available. What do they carry? What different meds might be needed. That's more your guys's wheelhouse than mine, but if you're there, that's important for you guys to know. Do they have the machine that can do CPR, or is it going to be the hand CPR? All that kind of stuff, just to find out and talk about is good with them. I also EMS 1 year, so I had them come out, we go through everything, we talk about, we're going to do a mattress for backboarding, and then they show up a few days later, like within the week. I needed them, we had to spine board someone, and they show up with a board, and I'm like, guys, we just talked about this, and why is there a board here? Like, so you do have to be a little bit flexible too with them, but it's good to have those conversations ahead of time. When you guys do come out to clinic, it's your school. You guys should run it as you're the one there. Obviously Suze, Mandy, and Mary are there if you guys have questions. They're a phone call away. And use your athletic trainer. And if you do an eval and you need time to think it through, or you have questions, step out with the athletic trainer and kind of talk through what you're thinking. And ask your athletic trainer to give you any tips, or not tips, anything they might know about a kid. So I might say, and I try and have these conversations before the fellow even arrives at school, like, hey, this kid, I'm concerned about this, or this kid, I really think it's nothing, and I just need you to confirm that and send them back out. Or I'm really concerned about this, but I think I'm going to have trouble. So for example, like if you're thinking maybe like a concussion, maybe has some mental health stuff going on with it, but we need to, they're not going to go right to a psychologist because that's kind of how the kid is. Like, okay, what can we do to bridge that gap to get them there the easiest? So different tidbits. Also, a lot of your schools do have physicians as parents. So ask your athletic trainer to let you know, like, if you know this parent is a physician, let me know, so that when you guys call, you're not trying to talk with them like they don't know what's going on. So any background on the parents or kids is definitely going to be helpful for you guys. As it is also when you're in clinic. So if we're sending someone in to see Suze, for example, I might say, hey, we're sending in this kid. This is what we're thinking. This is what we're concerned about. Oh, but also just to let you know, the parents can be kind of hard to deal with. Here's what's going on with them. So any information is always good for you guys to know.
I was going to ask real quick, sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
Do the schools have like a set day that they do go through EAPs, or is this something we're just doing separately on our own, coordinating with them?
So you should ask your athletic trainer at the school what day they're doing it. Here we typically do it before our first scrimmage because the EMS is going to be out there. So we're doing ours, I haven't gotten confirmation, but next Friday. So they'll all be different.
So they should have like a day that they're planning on doing it, whether it's like before scrimmage or whatever, just depends on what everyone's coordinated and talk with the AT.
Yep, they should. And you're at US, correct?
And then he's gonna get back to me. I just wasn't sure if we had like a set.
Yeah, no, it's not set. It's just kind of whatever works for everyone. So, yeah. Any other questions? Trying to think of other tidbits for you guys. Something else to talk about with your athletic trainer is what is your comfort level in ordering x-rays? So I've had some fellows that are like, yeah, just tell me body part name, what needs to be x-rayed. And I've had others that have said like, I want to see it first. So talk with them about that and what you guys want to do. If there is, I always tell parents, if you guys are comfortable putting in the x-rays, we get the x-ray, and then there is something broken, then we work to get them in typically to see Suze or Mandy, and let them know that so that they're not expecting like it to just be treated out of here. Like, oh, we're going to cast them here and then we're going to re-x-ray. No, like we'll get someone else involved. So letting them know that. I would bring your script pad every day to training room when you come, in case you need to write x-rays or anything else. Hold on, let me grab her. Sorry, she wanted to come see what was going on. Can you say hi? I typically have a physical therapy script pad here, so you guys don't necessarily need to bring that if your athletic trainer has it. It is helpful for them to just have that because then you can just write physical therapy.
This is probably a dumb question, but if we're ordering x-rays, where are they typically getting that done? How are we viewing the, like, is it going to be through UH? How are we viewing the results and determining like follow-up?
Yep. So if they're, I always tell them it's easier if you go through UH because then you guys can just log on to the system and see it. And then follow-up would go, if they've seen Suze or Mandy before, that's how I kind of do it. And then it also depends, like if you see that, although you're probably going to notice like beforehand if they get a fracture and it's like, oh, this could be surgical, that's, you'll probably know that more ahead of time. But just by looking, like maybe it's a finger and we're like, oh, maybe we should send a hand instead of Suze or Mandy. But it's always, they're always there to look at the x-ray and kind of talk it through with you too. Now, if they do need to go to the clinic or somewhere else for their x-rays, then they have to bring the CD or get it emailed. It's not going to be just a go off the report. Like we need to actually, like you guys need to see the actual x-ray. For me, if that's the case, I'll see what I can do to get it to wherever you guys are. If it works in my schedule, works in your schedule, and you're not too far, like you're not on the west side, I'm not driving to the west side for an x-ray, sorry. So it kind of just depends on the situation. But that's typically how I've done it.
Yeah, if you guys, I mean, we all can order these things to the EMR under our own names, and then when it's done, it'll automatically go to your inbox anyway. So you'll be notified when the x-ray is done that way too, if you want to go through that way. I think that's probably easier than trying to, the only downside to us writing the paper script is it probably won't come back to our inbox. So we would have to like actually know when the x-ray is done. We have to like look it up ourselves versus if you go in EMR and order it.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking too.
Automatically come up to you.
And so question for you guys, when you order x-rays, do you have to put it under an attending or can you just put it under yourselves?
No, we can put it under ourselves because we are technically fully licensed physicians.
Okay, so some things that we've run into, like we'll send a kid to get x-rays and say they're going to Ahuja, just to the walk-in x-ray radiology there. And then they'll be trying to find the x-ray order in the system, but it was put under, say, Sue's. Like the fellow had to put it under an attending. So that, so then it's under Sue's and not you.
That shouldn't be an issue. They should be able to just look the patient up by their name and the order should just populate. Sometimes it can actually make it more difficult if you put it under attending's name because sometimes they have to actually like authorize the order before it'll be active.
Got
That's
it.
probably where some of that issue has been, where like the order was sent to the attending, but the attending didn't authorize it, and so it wasn't considered
Right.
in it.
And
Okay.
that's all too, like for Tyler and Rohan, who probably haven't placed many orders in all scripts. When you're putting in that order, you'll have like a drop box for like order placed by, supervised by, managed by. And you can, I mean, you can have your name for all of those. What I was used to doing in residency is having supervised by and putting in my attending. So that order is still ordered by you, but they'll essentially get like CC'd on the result through all scripts. That'll change once we go to Epic, but there's a way to have both people on that result while still being the primary physician who ordered it.
Okay.
If you want, you can put all three for you if you want.
What?
Yeah, I was going to say, based off of what Justin said, I would think that all three of them would be our name, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you wanted to
That's
just
the
purely be
easiest way
you,
to do it.
then that's what I would do.
Okay. And I typically send to Ahuja or Green Road. Ahuja's open late until 9 p.m. So a lot of times that's easy for them to get to, fairly central location. So if you're an athletic trainer, they probably know where they normally like to send people to. But I would think all your schools, Ahuja would work. So definitely if you think someone needs an MRI, that should be something that is seen in clinic. Typically that's not ordered out of the training room. Physical therapy can be, that's pretty self-explanatory and easy. I'm trying to think of other. Make sure you talk with your athletic trainer about what the contract states. All of our schools have different contracts and the needs that would include you guys. So make sure that you're aware of what those are. As far as what days you guys go out to the school, work with the athletic trainer on that, and whatever works for your schedule. Clinic is your first responsibility. So sometimes it's hard for you guys to get out like anywhere before 5 o'clock. So talk with them and see what they've done in the past, what works. Every school is a little bit different. So anything else you guys want me to talk about or touch on? Or things that someone's mentioned that you're like, that's kind of strange, or I'm not sure about that, or.
No, and Austin and I were both residents at UH, and we both have been working with schools the last couple of years, so we got a little bit of experience with that.
Yep.
I had Cleveland Heights the last 2 years, and I can't remember what school he had, but so I mean, I would assume that it would be similar with it's like if we're at a game and a kid goes downriver, my trainer was always like, let me go first, like don't rush out with me. You know, if I need you, I'll call you. Otherwise, I'll bring the kid to the sideline. Then we'll
Yep. Yes, and talk with your athletic trainer on what they feel like they want to do. Typically, I'm the one who goes out first, sees what's going on. Now, if I'm out there for a while, then maybe you just kind of want to like wander out, like, hey, do you need me? What's going on? If you wanted to come out to see like what we're actually doing out there, you're welcome to do that too. Some athletic trainers get very territorial over the sidelines and the kids and what's going on. I'm not as territorial like that. You guys are there to learn also. So if you're like, what does happen when they're out there on the field? Go out with them and just kind of look over their shoulder and see. Definitely if I need help or I'm like, oh, this isn't looking good, or if it's a kid who says, yeah, I hit my head, like that's immediately in my mind going right to you guys. But also like talk with them and see. I know that you guys also had a talk on like injury management in games. We work it a lot as if you're functional, you can go back and try and play. Obviously you try and have them do a few things on the sidelines, like try running, try some jumping. If you can't do that, you can't go back. But if you look good, then okay, let's try. We did a couple years ago, there was an issue. We had a kid, the fellow actually thought that at halftime when he evaluated him, that the kid should not go back in. And I was like, I think the kid can go back in and play. And then the kid, he ended up going back to play and scored 2 more touchdowns. One of them was an 80-yard run. So I was like, well, I think his foot's okay. So, you know, just and trust your gut too. Like, listen to what your gut's saying and go from there with it. Definitely, if you have questions, talk it through with the athletic trainer. Like, this seems weird to me. Have you seen this before? Is this a kid who normally milks things? Like, they know their kids, they know the ones they see all the time. And yes, we don't blow off those kids, but we also know, like, okay, I see you every time you get hit. The likelihood that it's anything major is slim. Let's just make sure and then go from there. So,
as far as like getting these kids scheduled with like Suze or whoever for follow-up, is that with like through the AT? Like, are we just saying, hey, can you make sure they get an appointment scheduled on Monday, Tuesday to be seen? Or is that something we're doing on our side?
Typically the AT will do that. They have channels of who they work through. Like, if I'm sending them to Susan, Mandy, I'll go work a lot through Andrea or Tracy.
Yeah.
So
We, in the packet that Suze gave us, there is the contact for both Andrea and Tracy. And Suze had said that like we could always just send them an email and say, hey, you know, this patient needs to be seen by, you know, one of the docs, and then they should be able to contact the family and set everything up with that too.
Yep.
Again, that could go back to the whole see what your trainer wants to do with that.
And with, I guess, Friday nights, you know, we have 2 full days and then into Monday. How do we finesse that with seeing, with seeing players? I know that some need to be seen quicker, but
yeah,
they typically get in on Monday.
Yes, typically they will get in Monday, especially if it's like something big that you're like, oh, this kid just dislocated his shoulder, he should really be seen on Monday. We'll get him in somewhere on Monday. The other thing that is supposed to be starting, I think, this year is there's going to be an injury clinic at Ahuja.
We started that already.
On Friday nights?
Oh, I don't know about Friday nights, but we do have injury clinic. I didn't hear about Friday night injury clinic. That would make sense, honestly.
Yep. So there is talk, and I haven't gotten details. When I do, we'll make sure you guys have that information. But supposedly there's going to be an injury clinic Friday nights at Ahuja, so that if you are worried about a fracture, you can send them there to get x-rays. Awesome. You could send that dislocated shoulder there, so that kind of stuff will get seen Friday night, and then we work the follow-up for the beginning of next week or whatever the doctor wants. Awesome. So that could really be helpful in that. But yes, I would say that you're not supposed to promise next day appointments, but you can say, like, I'm pretty confident we can get you in tomorrow or Monday.
How late on Friday is the injury clinic open?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Let me see if I can get more information.
Sure.
I think I heard that it was maybe going to open around 10, or I don't know. I'll get information and we'll get.
I would just hate to send them and then get there and they're like, sorry, closed.
Right. So, and I think that it would also be something like, if you know you're sending someone, we know who the attending is at that clinic, and then we text them like, hey, we're sending this person so that they don't leave. So, or like a couple of years ago, I had a kid with a Liz Frank injury. We ended up sending to the ER, but like that would be something to send there instead of the ER. So, yeah, we'll definitely get you information as soon as we get it. So, and then, yeah, working with your athletic trainer on who they refer to. And because everything for me is, it's kind of weird who I send to and why I send them where. And if you don't know why they're sending them, like, why are you sending that one to Boswell over Sue's? Ask them and see. The other thing that I'll ask too a lot is, hey, Justin, where are you going to be tomorrow? Like, I have this kid that I want seen. Where are you going to be? Because a lot of times you can talk to the attending and say, hey, this kid is at my school. They really want him seen. Can we sneak them in? And most of the time the answer is yes. So.
In cases too, so this is something I ran into last year. I had a football player who had a history of back pain, ended up getting a hit. I thought that this was more like muscle spasm, but wanted to make sure he got an x-ray, talked with the AT, and then with family. Family didn't want to go through UH, like they had their own, like, this is where we like to go to get these things done. I'm going to take them in. Don't worry about it. Is there anything for us, like from a documentation standpoint for like CYA, in case that parent doesn't take them in and we're like, we wanted them to get an x-ray, we recommended this, but they never actually ended up going?
Yep. So definitely document it. I typically give the fellow access to Healthy Roster, so you can document it in there.
Gotcha.
But see where your athletic trainer wants you to document stuff. And talk with the athletic trainer like, hey, I really think they should get x-rays before they play again. So that way then, as the athletic trainer, we're watching out for a note to come back from a doctor before they get back out to play. So that we're kind of watching that for you too. Now, some schools, Euclid might be a little bit harder with getting like the parents following through with things. So I would just have the athletic trainer following up on that. Yeah, definitely just document everything to cover yourself. So, yeah. And whenever you have a kid who you are sending in to see someone at, especially UH, send the docs and send the attendings an email. Include the athletic trainer on it, just so that they have a heads up. Whatever you guys are thinking or worried about is good. And then typically the attending will also circle back around with you. So to follow up, because it is a learning thing for you guys. So it's good for you to know what's going on too.
I guess a follow-up for that too is, in training room, are we like documenting everything we see in training room, or is it just more so like we're seeing the people and talking about it together, but not like
I would document it. Unless it's just like a kid you saw in passing, if that makes sense. But yeah, document it.
Is that all through like the Healthy Roster or whatever the AT's using? Okay.
Yep. Yep.
The previous class gave us like soap notes on paper. We should be doing the electronic documentation more likely than it sounds like.
So ask your athletic trainer how they want to work it. I just give you access and let you go in and document that way. Now there are, like, you guys do have to document and keep other sheets for yourself as to who you saw and what was going on. But Healthy Roster, it will just give you a soap note to write. So it's pretty easy. You also, for our documentation, don't need to go into as much detail as what you do when you see someone in clinic. Hit the highlights, like whatever you think is important to be in there is fine. We're not looking for huge, big, long documents on everyone. So. Anything else? No?
Not that I can think of.
We'll learn on the play.
Yep, definitely. I know that you guys all have your own athletic trainers, but if something comes up and you guys have questions or whatever, you're welcome to reach out to me, bless you. As to what, if you like something comes up or whatever, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm here for you guys too. So yeah, and then I hope you guys have a good year and see lots of stuff, but not too serious of stuff. So,
Right.
Yep.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
All right.
you so
Thank
much.
you guys. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you too.
Bye.
baby.
Bye.
Bye.
Sarah, I'm gonna pack up my stuff and start heading your way, and then I'll see
Okay. Sounds good. Let me know when you're here.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.